Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. Now, while we head for the couch, EVEProsper started a weekly series on the market as well. So it's a direct competition for EVE Talk, but personally I think competition is a great thing. So if you're interested in the market and you want an even more in-depth analysis than mine, his videos are like 50 minutes to an hour long. Check out youtube.com/EVEProsper. Everything in a single word for EVEProsper. It's looking pretty good. I've not had time to digest like 1 hour videos on the market, but I think he goes way more in depth on individual items and what's going on there. So it could be very interesting if you're a trader or if you're interested in the market for EVE Online. So yeah, EVEProsper, check that out. I also think he's on Twitch because I think he records his videos on Twitch. So it could be very interesting. We'll see how all of that is going to pan out, but we are here mostly for the market, of course. And so let's get started straight away with Plex. This is the 3-month chart. As you can see, it's not looking too good. Here is the 1-month chart. You can see the price touching 860 million, and in fact we are at 872 to 874 even for sell orders right here. And I should really write down a time for Plex. So this is very, very high. Of course, we're closing in on 900 million ISK for a Plex, which is just extremely high. But I think it's the Phoebe effect. I think it's the winter expansion effect. There's just a lot of forces that are going to start to come together after the Phoebe launch. I think older players that may come back if CCP puts out a trailer or we can market it well, we might have an influx of new players, and usually a release like that will come with its own sale of Plex, which could be a trigger for an end to this rise right here. I don't see this as sustainable. Starting at 780 million, I would say early October, and then taking off to 860 million, that's 70 million, 10% in what would that be, less than a month. I don't think that is very sustainable. So this will end at some point. The only real question, of course, is can you pinpoint how low Plex will be, or will it just become a maintaining of the price at like 850 or something like that? The dynamics are very difficult to pinpoint at the moment. It used to be a lot easier when we had big expansions every 6 months. We had pretty much like clockwork the Plex market take this shape when a winter expansion was going to be released, and then take a really serious dive with the bottom as far away as April, May for Plex. But with the new release schedule and with the last winter expansion being the exception to this pattern, it's become very hard to pinpoint what Plexes are going to do, and so far they've really been going up and up and up for more than a year straight. So that's decently surprising. But yeah, I think Phoebe release will be a very interesting point to see what Plexes are actually going to do, and of course as well when CCP comes out with a new Plex sale. That might be just an opportunity for people that are looking for some cheaper Plexes to Plex their accounts, because at the moment, of course, almost 900 million, it starts to become some serious work in EVE Online to Plex your account for free. Let's move on to minerals then. Tritanium and 345 sounds good for that. Here is the tritanium chart, and the 1-month chart I think is going to be pretty interesting here. Look at that, we had a small top in data points as high as 572, but there's really a serious correction going on here. The 5-day moving average touching the 20-day moving average, so this may just be the end of it. I think this again will be related to the Phoebe release. People have been making their preparations, building up their fleets in preparation of war. They may just be a little bit of wait and see at the moment in the market when it comes to the minerals. You know, we don't really know what the impact exactly is going to be of the Phoebe release, and so I think it's normal that prices are coming down a little bit after. Well, I think they've had a pretty good 3 months here. Yeah, look at that, starting at 530 all the way up to 585 for tritanium. We've had a pretty good 3 months in preparation of the Phoebe release. But now here it looks like the story is ending for tritanium. Let's have a look at supply demand then. Buyers here, 1.1 billion, 1.8 billion. So I'm still seeing more demand than supply, but it is just possible that people are starting to be a little bit more hesitant about buying huge stocks of all of this, and they want to see what Phoebe will actually do to the market. Because at the moment, of course, everyone is merely speculating on all of that. Here is Pyrite, 1084, 1108. That's probably down as well. Yeah, down for the entire month, pretty much. Tried to come back a little bit last week, but just as it was with Titanium, which is against my expectations. I thought we had maybe a little bit more in it, but of course, with just a few days to go before Phoebe, this could be a normal reaction. Yeah, back down towards 11 ISK, which I think is an okay price actually for Pyrite. Miners should not despair at a chart like this. I think if I go again for the 3-month chart, you can actually see that Pyrite has not been doing that bad. And so Isaac miners really have had a decent run, I think, up to the Phoebe release so far. Let's have a look at Mexalon next here. Yeah, pretty much flat, slightly down for the entire month. Also, it's starting to hesitate here. You know, trying to hold on above 70 ISK last week, but here really a kick down towards 69. Current prices 69.5 for the sellers, 68.09 for the buyers. Still 250 million, 128, 235. There is still more demand than supply, but people seem to be quite hesitant to push the prices even higher than they are now. And so again, in the last few days, I'm seeing a little bit of a pullback in Mexalon, despite the more demand than supply situation. I definitely feel that this is related to what's going to happen with Phoebe. And here is the Isogen chart, which was going down for the entire month. Tried to come back a little bit, but at 122 you can see it's definitely hesitating here. It tried to cross the 20-day moving average. It did in fact, but now it's running pretty much parallel with that. Let's have a look at supply and demand here. 14 million, 12 million, 66 million, very recent buy order here as well. That is pretty big. But again, here there is a bit of hesitation in the mineral market, which has been doing quite well. I think if I go again for the 3-month chart, starting below 116, ending up at 122, we've had a nice 3 months in the high-sec minerals here. And it looks to me like everyone is just taking a little bit of a wait-and-see approach with the new release that's going to change quite a lot so close. Let's move on to Noxium, the in-between one, I would say. Again, down for the entire month and still heading down towards 540. 550 for the sellers and 532 for the buyers, so 540 right in the middle of that, which is actually a little bit unusual for something like Noxium. Because starting at Noxium, it's really sell orders that tend to dictate the price. People bring those from nullsec, from normal space, a little bit from highsec as well, but they bring that to the market, put up sell orders, and people that need Noxium to produce stuff usually just come to the market and buy it. To see a medium price on the chart right in between the buyers and the sellers means that there are both buyers that are actually selling their Noxium, but there are also there are also sellers that are selling their Noxium for their price of around 550, but there are also buyers that are actually getting their Noxium for the 530 they are placing their buy orders on, which I think is not a dynamic we see that often in Noxium. Let's have a look at Zydrine next, which should be even worse. When it comes to that, you know, sellers really should be dictating the price of Zydrine, but what we're seeing here now is 435 for the buyers, 440 for the sellers, which is just a 5 ISK margin, just about 1%, which is very, very low. And so I think here again there is this pressure. Zydrine for the month pretty much flat at 440, but if I go for the 6-month chart, you can see it's coming from a lot higher, from like 700 ISK 6 months ago. And so Zydrine also, after trying to get its price a little bit higher last week, again crashing back down towards the 440, and so it could go even lower here at the moment. With a very, very small margin between sellers and buyers. If this means that there are actually buyers that are getting their Zydrine, because is it really worth it for the 5 ISK to place a sell order and hope that you'll actually sell them, or do you just sell to those 3 million units right here that are willing to buy that for 435? I'm seeing bigger numbers here though, 20 million, 23 million. Oversupply, so there is still some potential down, I'm afraid. This is, yeah, something I don't think I've seen Zydrine this low like ever. This is quite extreme. Let's see Megasite then. That is, yeah, not good either. From 820 to 740 for the month. If I take the 6-month chart here, that's just a straight up crash from 1600 to current sell order 735. That's more than halved the price here. Supply is still coming in here. Look at that, 1.6 million. 25.6 million at 740, 717 for the buyers. Also, I think an extremely small margin for Megasite. This is, yeah, definitely a crashed market. This is the 1-year chart. Look at that, holding on for 6 months at around 1600 and then just crashing down, more than half the price gone there. That's pretty amazing and counter to my expectation. I thought we'd see a pullback way earlier than this, but I do think again that Phoebe could change this dynamic, and so it has slowed down, thankfully, for the guys that sell and mine Megasite. The downward trend has slowed down, and will Phoebe be a turnaround? I think it's a possibility, but it's going to be very hard, I think, to do, because these fundamentals have been worked in the market for quite a long time now. We've basically had a straight downward market for the null-stick minerals for 6 months now, whereas the high-stick minerals have been doing decently well. So it's going to be interesting, but I would not be surprised to see a further continuation of this situation here. There's just oversupply in these. Look at that, that's quite amazing. Zydrine, huge numbers in the sellers. Megasites, same with that. And then if you go for stuff like pyrite, you're seeing that there are these big buy orders here to prop up the price. It's a completely imbalanced situation in between the high-stick minerals and the null-stick minerals, with pretty much counter movements over the last 3 to 6 months, which is quite surprising, but very interesting, I think, for people that were looking for some higher margins in production. And let's move on to that. Then let's check out some Tech 1 chips here. 12 minutes for that, 12:00, and see what the impact of this has been. Overall, I think the Tech 1 market has been able to maintain itself quite well. I guess with higher high-stick minerals and lower null-stick minerals, it might overall still remain pretty balanced. Look at that, this is the Caracal with a little bit of two peaks here, but managing to maintain itself at around 10.4, 10.5 million, which is a normal price for the Caracal. Supply demand here 11, 14, 55, but also 46, 63. This is just a balanced situation, a well-supplied market that has been able to maintain itself for quite a few months. Let's have a look here at the Dominics in the last month. Yeah, a little bit of a pullback here, but you can see it's already coming back up towards the medium price of 186. Current sellers 187, current buyers 176. So supply demand here 9, 10, 11, 10, well balanced. There are some dips and some highs as well, of course, when people come in and buy a huge fleet of a single ship. But overall, the industry has been able to really react to those changes. If someone buys, let's say, a lot of Dominixes, supply comes back the next week, price comes back down. It's all very short-lived and nothing too dramatic in a well-supplied Tech 1 market. At the moment, it's going to be the Drake, pretty stable as well, up quite nicely actually for the month, almost 4 million. Let's have a look at supply demand here, 729.10. Actually, I think we are in the reaction phase here. 48.8 is a little bit lower than the chart already, so the pullback has begun here. The reaction from the industrialists, as I've said, does come after a little bit of a delay. Sure, they have to pinpoint the opportunities to sell higher, but here we are seeing 29.7 Drakes, 10 Drakes here coming in as well, with the recent buy order 662, a little bit lower than that, which is going to push the price back down towards its normal price for a Drake, which I suspect is around the 45-46 million range, something like that. Let's have a look at the Talos then. Apparently might have been bought out here, so could be a spike up. Yep, exactly, we are in the middle of a double spike here. It did so a few weeks ago as well at 75 million. Supply came back in, came back to a normal price of 71, taking off again. People are buying a lot of Taloses for a reason. But I do think we'll see in the next week or so supply come right back into the Taloses. You know, industrialists can just start producing a few of them, bring them to the market, pushing the price back down. I think this will be a short-lived situation here again, but maybe for people that have good Talos blueprints, an opportunity to make some money on them. very interesting. I like this market personally because it's a huge industrial base, and it's good to see that Cryos has not like caused such dramatic changes that like prices have become crazy, or that they've gone down, that it's totally not worth it to make it anymore or anything like that. No, it looks like a very healthy market to me. Next up, take two ships. Let's have a look at some trade opportunities. 15.15 for that, and we will take a 6-month chart here. Again, Absolution command ship still way too high. Astarte finally coming down. It's a little bit too early to say that I would consider this an opportunity. I'd like to see it closer to 240 or something like that, but finally the Astarte coming down. Claymore way too high. I would not go in that direction. The Damnation has been doing some more interesting things here, reaching 250. So that's a little bit more interesting. Let's see if there is some supply. Yeah, 247 for the buyers, 254. Pretty good supply of Damnations here as well. You have to wait for that to dry up, of course, but a buy opportunity may be close, I think, here. Next up, the Eagle, a very popular ship amongst the Brave collective here. Nice little spike here, I think, from 170 to 180. Nothing too dramatic, sure, but it's already pulling back. Let's see what you can buy Eagles for. 164, 165, you know, that's definitely at the lower part of the chart, which I think is a decent opportunity. And you see that there have been opportunities to sell at like 190, 220. Here again, probably a little double spike at 195, stuff like that. So could be interesting, I think, the Eagle at the moment. Decently low, coming off a new high. That was decently short-lived. Supply here, 26 of them. Just one big sell order to go. I think this could be interesting. EOS, well, I would hesitate. It's still too high. 320 for an EOS. I don't think you'll see huge opportunities here. I'm expecting personally the command ships to go back further towards a price that was a normal price like 6 months ago. So EOS, I think, is still too high, despite the fact that it's corrected decently a few weeks ago. Here is the Guardian chart. That I think is okay, starting to bounce off here. So actually current sellers 138, which is, yeah, a little bit higher. You gotta be careful here. Buyers still 128, that's interesting, below 130, but sellers 138. There are some numbers coming in, but is this going to stop a new spike from happening? It's a possibility, but I think you can see from the chart that there are big opportunities in the Guardian for some really nice profit as well. Let's take a look at the Hound. I think all of the covered ups were pretty much on buy order territory here. Close to 18 million last week, and currently 20.6 million. Yeah, there was a little bit of movement here. You can still buy them for around 18 million, but a little bit of a spike maybe in the works. Very interesting here. Then the Manticore, same thing here. Look at that. I really think you could have bought Manticores below 20 million. You can sell them for 22.5 million, more than 10% increase in price in less than a week. This could be another big spike in the works for the stealth bombers. Here is the Nemesis going way down below 19 million. Yeah, below 19 for the sellers, 18 million for the buyers. This is interesting for some investment maybe. If you look at some of the spiky behavior previously for the Nemesis, you've had 23 with several spikes on that, a big spike up to 28, here again on 21, and now a serious move down. So yeah, for your consideration, the Nemesis looks interesting to me. Nighthawk still too high, look at where it was 6 months ago. Purifier here, well, very low as well, although less spiky behavior. This seems maybe a little bit more sustained. There may just be a big player coming in with a lot of purifiers at the moment. 59, 119, 31. Those are pretty big numbers. You have to keep in mind how many purifiers the market still has to process before the next spike can happen. That looks a little bit early, but if you're looking for a medium term, longer term investment, maybe some low purifiers could be a good idea. But for some quick trade cash, I don't think I'd go there just yet. This is the Scimitar, again moving off of a little bit of a low as well, with 3 nice spikes there. So yeah, maybe it's probably too late to get the really good low price Scimitars, but I think there could still be some potential in that. Sleipnir command ship holding at 250. but yeah, I'd like to see it closer to 230. And then here is the Vulture finally. The only command sheet that I would say is coming close to interesting territory here, breaking 240. I think it's going to be interesting if there could be a spike still. 51, that's a pretty big order to fill before price could go back up. But you could maybe buy some vultures at a decent price for a spike later on. It's a possibility, I think. So yeah, very interesting, especially I think the stealth bombers at the moment in the Tech 2 market. There may be some opportunities there. Let's move on to the Tech 3 market, 2030 for that. If you've already taken a look at the bar below here, there is a serious movement going on. So here is the Legion, for instance. You can clearly see a spike at the end. Let's go for the 1 month chart. Legion spiking up to 156 million, 158 for some other sellers, 145 for the buyers. So someone has been making a move on Tech 3 ships, I think. No news on rebalancing or anything like that. Might be the patch notes, something I didn't catch myself. But this is obviously a breakaway. Let's have a look here at the Loki, also breaking off quite nicely. 173 for Loki's, 150 buy orders, pretty big margin. Not seeing that huge oversupply in these, except at 160 we've got 20 Legions, but that could be snagged up in my opinion. So pretty interesting. Here is the Proteus. A little bit less vigorous here, the Proteus, still 8 of them coming in, 1430. There's just a little bit more left here, but it's also a serious move up from last week for the Proteus. And this is the Tengu, also breaking off here. Current sellers 150, almost 160. There are big numbers coming in, so I think it's going to be hard to say that this is going to continue to go up. But because I do think that oversupply in this market is a reality, but someone, I guess, bought a huge number of Tech 3 ships and made its move, and this is going to be the result right here. Very much a breakout of Tech 3 ships here, increase in prices of like 25-30 million almost, especially here the Loki 173. That's definitely high, considering where we were at 130 not that long ago. So yeah, interesting. Tech 3 ships, someone made a move, something happened finally, I would say, and some producers are probably rejoicing that they can finally bring some Tech 3 ships at the market for some higher prices. Very interesting. And for the extra material here, 2240 for that. I'm going to check out melted nanoribbons, being in the nanoribbons, being in a wormhole myself. I noticed it when Katsu said that, hey, these prices seem to have gone up quite a lot, and yep, similar breakaway together with the Tech 3 ships here. Look at that, very nicely up. Sellers 5.8 million, buyers 5.1 million. So yeah, 4.8 for the big buyers, but still coming in at 5 million. That's a serious move up from for the melted nanoribbons. Together with the Tech 3 market, there is something going on there. I don't have the full analysis. Honestly, I was not expecting such a big move this week. It could be that the Tech 3, some more information on the Tech 3 destroyers has come out, or that people understand that, yeah, maybe there's going to be more demand for all of this stuff, less production in Tech 3 cruisers as well, causing this move on the market. That's a possibility. If you have your explanations, feel free to post them, because I'm very curious. Last week I tried to see to find some movement in the Tech 3 market, knowing that it's first an MR Tech 3 destroyer that was going to come out. I could not find any, and this week, bam, there it is. A big move on all the Tech 3 ships, big move on the melted nanoribbons. Something is definitely happening, or has happened, and I can't really pinpoint it myself at the moment. So if you have your ideas, feel free to post them. Anyways, that's it for this EVE Talk then, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next time.